Hey y'all, happy Saturday, happy Saturday. And so I got an email. It's old, but I found it and I just wanted to share because I was just thinking about, things are a lot more difficult financially for a lot of people right now. And we're getting ready to embark upon the last quarter of the year. And in that, it's going to be holidays. And so I have found the greatest joy in stepping outside of my comfort zone and, not just so much concerned, of course, about myself, but how can I be a blessing to somebody else? And I just, those who are really actually in need, right? So, what is your definition of need? To me, someone in need would be someone who's having to travel back and forth to St. Jude's with a sick child, or someone with a lot of kids who is doing all that they can for their kids and unable to provide. I mean, this is after you have sacrificed, right? So when you sacrifice and you're still lacking, then that's when there is a need. Because see, for me, a need is when you have sacrificed and done all you can do, literally, and then you can't get your needs, then there's a need. But to me, a person who, say for instance, take their money and buy what they want and doesn't satisfy all their needs, to me, that's not a need. That is someone who has not prioritized their life. And it brought me back to myself as a young teenager. I had my oldest daughter. I'm going to say oldest because I have 3 kids. Older daughter because I only had 2 daughters, so it's only 2, right? But anyway, so my sister had taken me for my 6-week appointment after I had my daughter. On the way back, my niece and nephew wanted to stop by the store to get some candy. So they didn't have very much money, but I said, stop, I'll take them in there. I'll go in there with them. Because my sister, I don't think she wanted to get out. So we go in the store, and on my way out, I look down, and there's some money. Now, was I right in taking the money? That's up for debate. I remember in our Sunday school class, well, we have Wednesday night, instead of being Bible study, we study that Sunday's Bible study lesson. And it talked about Rahab and her being a prostitute, or harlot is what they call it. And she providing protection for the 2 men who had come to scan the land. Just put it like that. But anyway, so she had to lie. And the question was, when is there a good time to lie? So if you're going to lie to, say for instance, avoid being killed, right? Avoid being harmed, then maybe a lie is okay. But I'm saying all that to say this though. I kept the money. First of all, I felt like if I turned it into the store, they would keep it anyway. So I worked retail. We worked retail. And if we found money, we turned it in. If no one claimed the money in 90 days, it was ours. So I have turned in money before and the person came back and got it. And I've turned in money before and I actually was able to keep it. But anyway, make a long story short, I kept the money. Teenage girl in high school, I kept the money. I could have went to the mall and bought me some clothes. I could have bought shoes or whatever. You know what I did? I took that money as a young responsible mother and bought a crib and a mattress with the bedding for my daughter. And possibly bought a few outfits or whatever. But what I'm saying is, as a teen, the first thing you do when you get money, you want to spend it on yourself. Well, as a young teen mother, I had to consider my daughter. And that's what I did. So that's what I'm saying. When you have access to money and you are a mother or you are a provider, you're the head of the household, or you're a husband and wife, the first thing you do before you do anything else, you want to take care of your shelter. You want to make sure that you provide a house, a roof over the head of your children. You want to make sure that you have the necessities in that home. And after that, sometimes you just need to think about other people. Life is just not all about self. And sometimes in life I have found that some people, all that they do benefits them, right? Everything that they do benefits them. If they spending $1, they're gonna get $10 back from that $1 they spent. Everything is about a profit. But sometimes you got to step outside of yourself and think about how you can help someone else, because I'm telling you from experience, some of the better blessings I've got is when I've actually helped someone else. You know what's a good feeling? When you feed somebody and they say, thank y'all, man. We had one lady one day, she said, this is really nice what you all are doing. And what I'm talking about is I'm in our ministry at church where we do community feedings the third Saturday. Some Saturdays we're unable to do so because we may have a funeral or another obligation, and so we don't feed. But when we do, it just puts a smile on my face for the people to say thank you and to know that they enjoy the meal. And we prepare just like we'll do it for our regular church members. So, you know, I bake the cakes. I bake them the same way I bake them when we're going to have a church event, because you know what? Everybody we are all God's children, and sometimes we stray away. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what we were talking about? Our pastor was saying, he was saying that a lot of times, he says a lot of people gonna be shocked when they get ready, when they go to heaven. They gonna see that the people that drug addict, that prostitute, gonna have a higher role in heaven than they're gonna have. It's, you know, don't ever think you're any better than anybody, because you're not. We're all God's children, and we all make mistakes, and we all, you know, do things that we're not supposed to, and there's no one sin greater than the other. And you know, it gets me when some people say, well, oh, that's a sin for them to be homosexual. It's a sin for you to be shacking up with that man you're not married to and to be fornicating too. All of that sin, right? So we just can't pick and choose what we're going to call a sin and how we're going to treat the people who are involved. You're supposed to love everybody, let God judge them. And our pastor told us last Wednesday, he said that it's a lady, he said that he was, you know, ministering in the neighborhood. And so he had stopped this lady who was a prostitute, and he asked her, what could we do? What will it take to get you out of the street? This is what she said. She said, you know, she said, Pastor, she said, I've gone places to try to get jobs. Nobody will hire me because I have a record. And he said, well, she said, if I could give me a job, I could come off the street because I got to be able to take care of myself. So my pastor made some calls to some people he knew, and they gave her a job. She attended our church until she moved to another location, and she got her high school, she got a GED, and now she's in college. So sometimes it just takes one person to believe in you. You understand? To try to motivate you and inspire you to change your whole life. And so that's why I got to this point. I did all that, said all that to say this. So, you know, what can we do to give back for the holidays? And I found this in one of my emails, and I thought I would share it. Light displays, Santa photos, hot chocolate, and festive gatherings. There are so many things that bring us joy during the holiday season. If you or your agency want to share some of that joy, here are some ways to do just that. Donate to or volunteer at a local food bank. My daughter has a job. She worked with the feds, and she just told me the other day that they part of their job is they have to go back in the community and give back, like volunteer at the food banks and things like that. And I think that's awesome. Another thing is a visit a nursing home. I had told my son he loves to read the Bible. I said sometimes, you know, he could just call and see if he could get approval for those people, like the people in the nursing home when they're at their little they have little exercises where they all get together and do things, where he could just come read some Bible scripture, because some of them would like to hear the word but they can't read, you know, their eyes are bad or whatever. Just to know that somebody cares. I know that a couple of months ago, our mission ministry went to one of the nursing homes, and they had prayer and song with them. Adopt a family in need. Do you know someone who's really in need? Listen, I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry, because as a young mother, very, very young, I told y'all high school, I realized that once I became somebody's mother, it wasn't about me. My first obligation was to take care of my daughter. So if I had to wear the same shoes all year, I was going to make sure my kids had what they need, right? Yeah. So what I learned to do, and I'm going to discuss that because I want to start something like a single mother's ministry right here on YouTube. I want to share the experience that I have, and I think I'm qualified because I have 3 kids who are now grown, who are the product of a single family home. Yes. And so adopt a family in need. We used to have the giving tree at church, and we're going to start back doing that. But I always, if I see a need, I just try to help. I do. Bring treats to first responders. We never really give them, the first responders, I think, that the congratulations or the appreciation that we should, because every time there's a bad situation in our house, what do? 911. And remember, those people have families too that they have to lead to come and assist us. What are their children or what are their wives going without in order to help us? I'm sure, some of the older ones, they have older parents that they're leaving to assist other people. So we have to just learn to listen. That's why I say love. Love would change it would change people, situations, and circumstances if we let that. I try to include that in every single video I post. And yes, I know I don't get very many views. I get more than I used to. But I'm not here for popularity. I'm not here for makeup because that's not my lane. I'm not here for fashion because I basically wear the same thing over. And I was looking at the same thing over and over. I was looking at my videos. I was like, darn, I had this dress on like 3, 4, 5 videos. It may have it in 10 because guess what? I don't buy my clothes to wear for a video and throw away. I don't. That's a facade. I buy what I buy, I wear. Shop using Amazon Smile, and I do this. So what Amazon Smile is, you designate a charity who's going to benefit from the items, from your purchases. Yeah. Good deal. Find out how you can help veterans. They served our country, and I feel like, and I agree with my pastor, no veteran should be homeless. They made the ultimate sacrifice. They have given their life, their livelihood, a lot of their youth to protecting our country, and our country needs to take care of them. Habitat for Humanity. You know what that is? Habitat for Humanity helps others build homes to people who may not qualify or have the necessary needs. But what happens is the person who gets that home have to also designate so many hours to helping to construct that home. And that's important. And I feel like if you expecting to get something, you're going to have to sacrifice something, whether it be your time, some of your money, or something. Anything that you get easy, remember, you can also lose it that same way, right? Right. Because, and I remember my pastor saying one time, and he was being interviewed online, and he was talking about Jesus never really dealt with people who were lazy. Everybody he dealt with, they were doing something. And even when he blessed you, get up, pick up your bag and walk, go and sin no more, just different ways he would give you an action to perform. And then that's when a miracle will occur. Stop being lazy. And I'm gonna honestly tell you, sometimes I'm a procrastinator. I'm better now than I used to be. And I used to be late a lot because I'm one of those type people. I don't like to hurry up to get somewhere and have to wait. If something starts at 8 o'clock, I'd rather get there at 7:59. I feel like I'm on time. But I remember this guy that liked me, he was in the military and he was, Air Force. And he said that one of his commanders told him, said, if you're not 45 minutes early, you late. So I just don't like being too early. I can remember it was years and years ago. I had gotten, it was a Thanksgiving. I had left home early to go over to Kmart. It was a Kmart about 20 minutes away, but I had gone to get a Christmas tree because they had the Martha Stewart Christmas tree, regular $99 on sale for $39. But you know how they had those early specials? You had to be there from like 6 or 7 in the morning to get it. I remember driving up, and they had a line about a mile long waiting to get in that store. Y'all, when the door opened, I was probably number 30 or 40 getting in there, and I had just pulled up. I was not there waiting 2 and 3 hours. I just don't like to wait. I think that time is money, or time wasted is time I could be doing something. So, but anyway, that's something I'm working on, though, being on time, because I realize too that being on time is just being respectful, especially if you're in a office setting. Imagine you walking in the building and you're late, and there's 15 people waiting, your coworker trying to assist 15 people, and you just taking your time getting to work. Yeah, being on time is respectful. There's also Toys for Tots. I remember Toys for Tots, a lot of times that's where we used to have, when I worked at Kmart, we would close early, and we would have the policemen would come in and bring children to get toys. Usually these kids were kids whose family was on welfare, some type of federal assistance or whatever. And they come in and give them a budget. I can't remember how much, but they would get there and shop. Also the Salvation Army, you know how they had the bell ringer. And I used to be so happy when I would come and see the bell ringers. It would be people, prominent people in the neighborhood. One time I went, it was my orthodontist was out there. One time it was my, some of my old teachers, sororities and fraternities. It just makes you feel good when you help somebody. But the thing about it is the person that's getting the help should be not only appreciative, but they should need it. See, and maybe I just feel like this. I feel like if I can afford to buy my child a $200 pair of shoes, I shouldn't need any type of federal assistance, right? Because a pair of $200 shoes is something that you should want. It's not necessarily a need. I have bought shoes that cost that much, but let me tell you, they may be valued at that much, but I didn't pay that much for them, right? They were on sale. I think the most I paid was maybe $125. And also they have Operation Christmas Child. And I've done this before. It's where there's a box that they give you. And you put $15 worth of merchandise in that box and you send it. Whatever can fit in there, that's what you fill it up with. And they usually start that, I think, maybe in October. But this is ways that you could actually go out and help someone. And I just wanted to share that because, and that's why I remember I found out that this lady, she was one of my first subscribers on YouTube. Her name was Mary Arvella, whatever. Anyway, but Mary was from some part of Pennsylvania and she had 2 children, but she wasn't a single parent. I don't know if she and Tyreek were married or not, but anyway, she had 2 kids, Olivia and TJ. Very good mother. Mary, every year she would get together with other YouTubers and they would create boxes of gifts to send to families in need. Yeah. And she passed, she had cancer. She passed a few years ago. And I actually tried to reach out to the family because I really wanted to give back to her kids the way she actually helped to give back to others. I did. Because again, it's not all about you. If everything you do is me, my, and mine, I'm telling you, if you want to be blessed, help someone else. And I'm not talking about help somebody get things that they need because they're not supplying their needs themselves. They're getting what they want. Make sure that the person that you're helping actually need it. Because if people are shopping in abundance, then they don't need. They won't, right? So, okay, my definition and what I consider a need. You're a single mother. You could have 1, you could have 20 children. You work, or maybe it's possible that you can't work because you have so many kids you can't. But you take all of your money and you pay every bill that you have and still there is lack. Still you don't have all you need, that's a need. But if you're a mother and you're able to buy all of what you need and you're lacking in what you want, then you haven't prioritized. Because here's the thing, you have to take care. The first thing you want to do is take care of your shelter, your utilities, and your food. And sometimes when things are hard, you may not be able to get filet mignon, but if you can get some noodles and throw us a couple of pieces of chicken, that's why I shop sale. Hey, you can do that. As a young mother, I never begged. The only person I borrowed from was my mother. Occasionally, and you know what? I've gotten payday loans. I told y'all before, one time I had 2 payday loans, and with the payday loan, I would pay $340. I think I write the check for $340. They give me $300 cash. When I got paid in 2 weeks, if I couldn't pay that $340 back, guess what? I gave them $40 and wrote another $340 check. So it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a good, but I had to, I paid that off and I moved on. That's part of my testimony. That's part of my struggle. That lets me know that God elevated me and picked me up out of that situation. And think about it like this. Some people use God as an ATM. Every time they go to God, they begging for money. But think about this. You begging him for money, but have you ever given him his 10%? Woo! The first fruits? Have you ever done that? Have you ever thought about it? You asking him for more of what he's already given you, and you didn't give him anything up out of it. My pastor tells this story all the time. He said he and his wife were young, and they were waiting on an $1,800 or $1,400 income tax return. His mother said, "Don't forget your tithes." And he said, "I'm gonna be honest. I was young. My wife and I, we didn't think about no tithe. We was getting that money. We was gonna ball." That's what my pastor said. And guess what happened? The day they got the check, the car went out. Remember I told y'all the check was 18 or 14? I think it was 1,800, because guess what? To repair the car was 1,400. So they didn't want to give the Lord that $140 or $180, whichever it was, but guess what? He took it. All right? He didn't get it. It went to fixing their vehicle. But I'm just saying, I'm telling you, I remember one of my friends told me she was working a job making $26,000 a year. I could tell y'all don't know my friend, but she was making $26,000 a year. And she said she made up in her mind that year she was going to start paying her tithes, and she did. Guess what happened? She tithed that whole year. She said, she told me, she said when she ended up tithing, I think that year, right at 3,000, because I guess she probably included her income tax. Guess what? The next year she was offered a job making 44,000. Yeah, so if you have faith and if you believe, pay your tithes and see what happens in your life. I remember my other pastor, he passed, blessed day, my pastor. He said that if you tithe and there comes a point you can't pay your bills, you come to the church and the church will pay that bill for you, right? So you go around and you're giving your money to people that you don't know based on what they're telling you their need is, right? So, but when you're in need, you don't tithe to the Lord, but you're giving your money to other people. But when you're in need, will those same people give to you? All right? Okay, but anyway, all I'm saying is love people, y'all. Help when you can. You never know how you can make a difference. Right? All right. It was good talking to y'all. We're going to do more little discussions like this. But in the meantime, make someone smile, be blessed. And welcome all my new subscribers. Much love. Bye.